Hello everybody, it's me, Matthew, and this is going to be truly an unedited, well not truly unedited because I'm going to piece the pieces together, but you know what, I haven't done this forever. I haven't given you guys an update with anything that is going on, and there's a lot going on. I've just been so busy with my BRS videos, making 2 videos a week, which I'm loving, but it is a lot of content I'm putting out. But I figured it's Monday, I'm just going to get behind anyways this week, as I always do. I end up working Saturday and Sunday, so I might as well make this video for you guys. So let me take you around the gallery, take you around the studio, show you what's going in, what's coming out, and what's to come. A kind of behind the scenes look, but I hope you're all well. All right, let's start outside, because this has been sitting here for quite a while, actually. Take a peek. I have it on auto. It should be on auto. Yes. Okay. IM tanks. This is the next project I'm doing with bulk reef supply. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but I have 2 IM tanks that have been sent my way. So we have this one right here, the Fusion 40 Pro, and hold on, I'm going to stop this real quick. Hopefully that'll be better. Okay, so we got the IM 40 Pro. I believe it's cube. It's a cube tank. That one's being set up, and then we have the Fusion 14 Peninsula, which if you guys watch my stuff before, you know I've actually already set this one up, but I have a new one to set up as well. And then we have the 2 stands to go along with that, and it should be fun, actually. What we're doing with these should be something that's really never been done before, and I'm not going to go into detail, but these are just the first 2 tanks. There's going to be more, and there's going to be bigger tanks. But these are the 2 IM tanks, so thanks IM for sending these my way. But in order to set these ones up, I have to break something down here. This is just too much for me. I have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 systems, and I don't have time to take care of them. And I used to have a guy who came and took care of them for me, but he has been too busy, so he can't come by anymore. So I'm breaking down 2 tanks, and it was a difficult decision. I'm not ready to break down the Seahorse tank yet. I really like this. I feel like I'm learning a lot, and I'm learning a lot with the macroalgae as well. So I'm not ready to give up on that one yet. And then this tank right here, even though it's crazy blue, is just doing so well. The corals are doing so well, and I don't have the heart to break it down when everything is settling in so well. I am going to put new lights on there, but I'll talk about that in a second. So it comes down to these 2. Remember, I set up this brand new Fowler tank. I mean, it was gorgeous. This is the water box tank that was my neighbor's tank, and I had that one Toby pufferfish in here. But I was like, if I have to break down 2 tanks, it's going to have to go. So luckily, I have somebody coming by to pick it up next weekend, but it has been totally broken down, and but my plan eventually is to get a permanent tank here, and I want to do like a large peninsula tank that's like starts here and then goes like, you know, out to here so you can see it from the kitchen. That's the goal eventually, but I got to break that down, and I'll put an IM tank in its place, and then I have to break down the Anemone tank. Clownfish harem tank experiment was a failure. It was, you know what? And I am okay admitting that. The only good thing that came out of it is I have seemed to finally conquer anemone health. And they're large, and they're growing. But remember I had 12 clownfish in here? This tank is too small. It was just too small. So now there's only 3 left, and the rest are spread out all over the place. So this tank is breaking down as well. But the real sad thing is I don't have a place for everything. I don't currently have a place to put all of these anemones. The only frag tank I have is that little tiny frag tank right there. That's a 25-gallon lagoon by IM, and it's already packed. It's packed with coral. I don't have space. I need a bigger tank, and I'm hoping to get maybe like that new water box frag system, like not the smallest one, but the second biggest one, and then just make that the frag corner. Because with these new tanks breaking down and setting up, I don't want to have to constantly get rid of this stuff. Like I bought all of these. You know, these were over $100 a piece, and now what am I supposed to do with them? I'm going to give them away to somebody who knows how to take care of them, and that's I just don't want to spend that money every time I make a change in here. So this is being broken down. I'm a little bit not looking forward to, you know, taking all of these apart, taking all these off. Like anemones can be a pain. But I'm going to have to do that this weekend, break down this tank, clean this tank, and then see if anybody wants this tank, because I'm not going to save either one of these tanks. But yeah, let's just go tank by tank. Let me show you what's happening. Let's start back here. This is the IM 25. Is it a 25-gallon lagoon tank? I think that's what it is, 25-gallon lagoon tank. This is just my frag tank. It's pretty full. I could put some more in here. There's a few fish. I got a couple clownfish in here. One bigger, one smaller. I have there you go, cleaner shrimp, and then one damselfish is left. I think that's all I have in here. But you're gonna see some of my coral selection, even though it's totally blue. You know, a lot of zoas, some micromusa there, which is really pretty. A lot of bubble algae in this tank that I keep removing. A lot of aptasia I keep removing. More zoas, war corals, random SPS. And then I have this Anthelia, which takes up so much toadstool. I mean, you get the idea. There's just not a lot of space in here. This tank's doing okay. It's just, you know, it's too small. This light seems to work really well, but no matter what I do, I just did like a 90% water change on this tank, and I tested my phosphate levels after, and they were still 0.8. I mean, how is that humanly possible? So I think what's going on in here is there's just so much crap built up in here, especially here. See all these little balls here? These are the ceramic media. I think that they're just disgustingly covered. So I think I need to pull this out, clean out the back chamber, and go from there. I am going to try to move some of these corals over, and then I have a blue basket somewhere. I don't know where it is. And I'm going to try to keep a couple of the anemones until I have a chance to move them somewhere else, but then I have to get rid of the rest of them. But this is just too small. This whole corner bugs the heck out of me. Like, you know, the gallery's nice and all, but then over here it's just wasted space. So I'm hoping to take this table out. I got a storage space now. I have a lot of gear in the storage space. Take all this crap out, put in a big frag tank in there, and then just tidy this up a lot so it looks a lot better. But yeah, I mean, this tank is just, I don't know. I'm underwhelmed by it. Not the tank itself, just like what I'm using it for. It's just too small for my needs. It's too small for my needs, and I don't have adequate filtration, especially for nitrates and phosphates. You've seen this is breaking down. Yeah, this is so sad. I don't want to get rid of it. Like, this is not my favorite tank to look at visually. I love the anemones. I love the fact that they're actually growing and that I'm succeeding somewhat in keeping them. But it's just boring. It's boring, to be honest. It's boring. But I've learned a ton, and I think the best thing I did in this tank was to get this aquatic life fixture. I think the 4 T5 bulbs combined with the 2 primes is fantastic. I think the anemones have loved the consistent light from those T5s. I think I have 2 actinics and 2 like coral plus or 2 blue plus or something like that. But I've noticed that they've been plumper, they've been larger, they've been growing better. I mean, there's still kinks. I mean, you see those kinks there? I still can understand that, and they still do kind of come off from time to time, but it's only this variant. So there's like this, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. These are all the same, genetically the same. But these other ones here that are this different color don't seem to have that at all. So I'm sad. I'm sad to break this down. I really don't want to break it down, especially now that it's dialed in. It's pretty self-sufficient. I have the lights where I like them. I'm not thrilled with the aquascape. You know, I even have the sump. I mean, just everything's dialed in. But I can't add more tanks. I just can't do it. So I'm going to break everything down. I'm going to get rid of the tank, get rid of the stand, but I'm going to hold on to the lights, all the lights. I'm going to hold on to the wave makers because I love the wave makers. I'm going to hold on to a few of the anemones, but, you know, I have to get rid of most of the fish in here, which is just some clowns, some pajama cardinals, a couple hawkfish, and then I will keep pretty much everything down here. I'll probably keep, you know, I have some just some live rocks sitting down here. I'll probably get just a trash can and keep them in there with a heater and a circulation pump just to keep them going, and, you know, keep everything else in here. But yeah, this will be broken down Saturday. So my background for my videos will be pretty plain for a while, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, third tank. Third tank? Yeah, this is my, what is this? The JBJ RF 45. It's an all-in-one system, and there's no sump, but it has a nice stand. I really like these JBJ tanks. For an all-in-one system, it's great. The problem I have with this tank is I just have it overstocked. There's just too much in here, and there's 4 chromis, 2 clownfish, a wrasse that hides in there somewhere. I think there's something else too. But then there's just a ton of corals. I have my softies, zoas, what is that? A lepto, some acans, some blastos, candy canes. And this tank is awesome. And I'm learning a ton from this tank because everything is doing so well and it's growing out so well that they're starting to war. So like, oh gosh, this is me not knowing names of things, but these pink ones, right? These Gonnies, that's what they are. I didn't realize how much they would sting, and they're stinging this bird's nest. Is that what it's called? Bird's nest. Flow patterns. Yikes! I mean, look at that. That's way too much flow on that Duncan head there. I didn't realize that my mushrooms, for example, these mushrooms, whatever they are, Rhodactis, whatever they are, these two get along just fine. But they were stinging everything else they came in contact with, and they just keep growing and growing and growing. So I've learned a ton from this tank, and this tank is being dosed with, I believe it's all for reef, yeah, which is fantastic. It's perfect. I've been using all for reef, and I'm using a Camor dosing pump right there, and I love it. All for reef, I highly recommend it. It's working fantastic. It's keeping the levels perfectly. The lights, those were the Hydra 32s. I actually am going to be putting new lights on here because of a video I'm making for BRS. So I'm going to be changing it out to this ATI fixture. I don't know. It's my new thing. I love T5. I love T5s. I don't know. Maybe it's just the success I've had with this tank right here, but T5s, I love them. So I'm going to change them out with this dimmable T5 fixture. I think it'll make it look, I don't know. I just think it'll make it pop a lot more. But the corals are growing. I need more space, honestly. I don't really have a lot more space to put corals in here, which is a great problem to have. But for now, I'm going to keep this tank. Eventually, I'll probably get rid of this tank when I upgrade to something larger, but for now, I'm keeping this tank. It's doing too well to get rid of. I am dealing with high phosphates and high nitrates, so I'm constantly having to change out my GFO. Oh, sorry, here. My puppy needs in. You want in? Okay. Come on. We're making a video here. Constantly dealing with high phosphates, high nitrates. This is keeping my phosphates down, and this is helping to keep my nitrates down. This is that Red Sea Classic 1000 HOB. It's a great product. It's a little bit of a pain to like prime, but I mean, just look at the nastiness. It really pulls out some dark stuff, and I had it sitting over here until last weekend, and I was so sick of it that I moved it back there. I don't like the look. I don't like how cluttered it is, but what I've done, or what I plan on doing, is I purchased some LED lights, and I'm going to use an old Aquamax reactor, and I'm going to make a macroalgae, not refugium, a macroalgae reactor. That's what it's called. And I'm just going to plumb it. I'm going to plumb it over the edge here, and then I'm just going to put it down here on the bottom, and I'm going to run it all the time. I haven't got around to doing it yet because I guess I'm being kind of lazy about that, but I'm hoping that when I fill that up, it will help, especially with the nitrates and phosphates, and maybe I won't have to run this. And if I do have to keep running this, I may end up buying a different reactor, maybe an Aquamax one that I can plumb in better so it doesn't leak, and just plumb it in, but plumb it in down here so I don't have to kind of stare at all of this. This tank, really, I dealt with a lot of cyanobacteria in here, but it's gone now. I just keep blasting. I mean, my technique for blasting, for dealing with cyano is the same. It's just, I just blast it off. That's literally all I do, and eventually it stops having a problem. Like over here, look at this. There's cyano on here, but all of these rocks used to be completely covered, and I would just take my turkey, you can see a little bit right here. I just take my turkey baster and I blast it off, and then I dose some sort of like Microbacter 7, and eventually it disappears. So that's one problem this tank's been having. The other problem, it's not really a problem. There has been a little bit of bubble. Oh, we saw the wrasse. Oh, he's gone. There's been a little bit of bubble algae in here and some aptasia, but I'm just treating it with, what am I using now? I think I'm using this. F-aptasia. Was that Frank's aptasia? I've been using that, and it's been working just fine. But other than that, I don't know, not a whole lot to talk about in here. Tank's going well. Lastly, the Seahorse tank. If you've been following, you know that I lost a Seahorse a few months ago, and I had to do a Seahorse surgery a couple weeks ago. But let me get to that in a second. This is the JBJ RF 65, so 45, 65, or RF 70. They're both JBJs. They're the same things, just different sizes. Maybe it's, I don't know, RF 65 and 45. I think that's what it is. Also an all-in-one system. You know, I have, this one's a little bit cleaner because I plumbed in my own manifold, if you remember, because I had the chiller. The chiller's there, and then down below, you can see I'm running the UV sterilizer off the manifold right there. You can zoom out here. UV sterilizer. I have an empty spot there, and then I have this. It's being powered by this Reef Octopus return pump here, which is externally plumbed, which I love, by the way. Externally plumbing is so quiet. I love it. This tank overall is doing well. I've had that one death of the Seahorse, which was unexplainable. And then the other problem is one of the Seahorses, let's see if I can find any. They hide so well. Where are you guys? I mean, he's right there, but you probably can't even see him. I had one male Seahorse get an air bubble in its pouch, and it was floating upside down. And that's my nightmare. So I ended up having to pull the Seahorse out and stick a needle into its pouch twice with an antibiotic solution to flush it out. And the second time it worked, and I can't believe it. And I hope it doesn't keep happening because I hate handling the Seahorses, and I hate doing any kind of surgery on the Seahorses. But I did it and it worked. So we have 3 left, 2 males, 1 female. This tank just seems to have high nutrients. You know, Seahorses poop a lot. I mean, a lot. And it's huge poop for such small little bodies. But I have so much macro algae in here that is growing. You know, this, oh my gosh, Matthew. I can't, oh, there's a Seahorse. There we go, there's one. This green stuff, Colerpa, this is a legal species here. It started out as like this much, and it just grows and grows and grows, and I keep trimming it back. I don't know what you call this, that the Seahorses, it's some sort of grape. I call it the grape. It died back, but then it just sprouted up again. So I love the shapes and the colors, and there's even some eggs on there. Those little white spots are actually eggs. Just a standard, what is that, finger leather? Maybe that's a sinularia, I think it might be. I've noticed in here, the leather corals, the soft corals, like this one and this green one here, they do a lot more shedding. Maybe because the water temperature is 72. But they're both growing fine. I have one of these neon green, I think it's a Nephthia. Can't really see the neon green colors because of the light I'm using. I'm using this Twin Star, what is it? Twin Star 900. It's a freshwater light. It's a Korean freshwater light. So you can't really see the neon colors of it, but I'm just growing it out in here. Then I got this sponge. The sponge is super cool, and it's doing better now, but it, you know, because I have higher nitrate and phosphates, I think I tested my phosphates for like 0.2 and my nitrates like 30 or something like that. Definitely higher, but it doesn't seem to be a problem because there's no nuisance algae growth. I mean, okay, yes, there is bubble algae growth, but in this tank, I don't consider bubble algae nuisance algae. I think it's pretty because all of the other macroalgae, the Gracilaria, the Codium, are absorbing it all. I mean, look at this. Look at this Codium. It is massive. Like, it's insane. And I have so much of it, and it's growing just gangbusters, which is awesome. I mean, the Gracilaria is growing a lot. The only problem I have with the sponge is the high nitrates, phosphates, combined with the light levels, sometimes can make algae grow on it. And you can only see it right there on the top corner a little bit. And I have to get in with a toothbrush and scrape it off. But other than that, it's doing well. I don't target feed it, but what I do have is that tube right there is dosing phytoplankton. And that's been one of the best suggestions that Tyler ever gave me. And it's Easy Reefs, what is it, Easy Booster 25. And it's just gel phytoplankton, marine phytoplankton gel. And I use this Comor doser right here, and I dose it. And I have an extra one here. I mean, I dose a tiny amount. It's like 1 or 2, what do you call it, 1 or 2 milliliters a day. I mean, it's a tiny amount. And you have to put it right in front of the wave maker because when it doses, if you don't have it dispersed, it'll just sink down. But I think that is really helping out, like my sponge and also my 2 gorgonians, which are doing really well. I don't know what they are. Purple fan, sea whip, and this is a purple, I don't know if it's candelabra, I don't know what it's called. Overall, things are well. This section back here is just kind of ugly. It's kind of where like all my macroalgae goes when it detaches, because that's where the pump is and that's where it collects. I like to get something else back here, a little prettier. This green macroalgae here, I forget the name of it, but it's a calcifying one. So I do have to watch out to make sure I keep up with my calcium and alkalinity. But it doesn't root or anything, so it just kind of blows around, which is kind of annoying. And every time I like clean this out, I feel like it dies back. But other than that, it's a nice tank. It's an easy tank. I really recommend macroalgae tanks for anybody out there because it's fantastic. Well, that's it, guys. That's all I got for you. That's an update. If you have any questions, I mean, I know I'm not very active on Instagram these days at all. I deleted my TikTok. I don't do anything on there. I don't do Facebook. Really, I should hire somebody at some point to like do these things for me. But if you guys have any questions about anything about my systems or about my work with BRS, I'm always happy to answer them. You can leave a comment down below. I will try my best to get to it as soon as I can. Or you can send me an email, or you can send me a DM on Instagram as well. Other than that, everyone, should I sign off now? All right. Be well. Thanks for watching. Have a reef and be well. We'll see you next time.